Alright guys, welcome back. So we're going to continue on talking about owning your own assets, and in this video I want to talk about your phone number. So I highly advise most of my students in 95% of all situations to use a call tracking phone number because number one, you're going to be able to track the results that you're doing, that you're giving your clients, which is great for not only yourself to know that this stuff is working and it boosts up your confidence, but it's great for your client. We've had clients who've come to us, 1 month and said, "Hey, Paul, this just isn't working out. We're not getting many leads." And I can quickly go and pull a call tracking report. I'm in one of my accounts right now, and I can quickly pull a report and look and see, okay, something's wrong. Look at all these calls coming in, 717 transfers, and you're saying you're not getting any calls. What's going on? I can quickly figure out exactly the problem because you can actually record phone calls as long as you have your client's permission, I guess. You'd want to check for that, but you could find out what's going on. We've had cases where the client didn't know that their secretary was rude to their customers and they were blowing the deal. And it just helps all the way around. Maybe they just didn't realize, you can pull the tracking report and see, hey, we got 30 calls this month or something, and you're able to just find that out. Tracking is a must for the lead gen situation if you're going to go that route, because you're going to use this phone number, which you'll own, and you're going to forward it off to your client. So there's some different options out there, and I'm going to show you what my preferred options are, and I'm going to show you what I've used in the past. So what you're looking at right now is CallFire, and this is one that I used in the past, and I'm starting to switch away from this one, and I'll tell you why and kind of the benefits of doing that and so on and so forth. But when I first started off, and I mean not even just first started off, but this is the one I used from the beginning. So I've just kind of been using this one for the past, I don't know, 5 years now, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I switched to a platform where I can kind of control things a little bit more, and it actually is a little bit cheaper in the long run. And it allows for better reporting, which is mostly what I really like better about the other one. But anyways, if you do decide to go with CallFire, I think that it's only good for the United States and Canada. And then if you need to go outside of that area, you're gonna look at Twilio, which I'll point out in a minute. Now, my CallFire dashboard, I went with the pay-as-you-go plan. So if you're wondering which plan to go with, that's the one. Runs you 5 cents a minute. Now, and they charge you $1 per month for the phone number. I think it's a $3 setup fee and then $1 per month, and then that allows you to keep the number running, and then it's just 5 cents a minute after that for the calls that come in. Now, I normally build in my calls as part of the deal because I'm charging a pretty substantial amount, usually somewhere between $500 and $1,000 a month, and so I just kind of build in the calls with that. If it starts to get excessive where they've got their friends calling their tracking phone number or something like that, and they're spending hour-long conversations on the phone, then that's something I would revisit and talk to them about, and add that into the billing or something like that. But it's never really an issue. CallFire, I'm on an older interface. I've heard previous students say when they come into CallFire it looks different than my screen. That's just because I'm on an older interface. Now, these companies all have really good customer support, so I mean, if you run into a problem, you can call them up and they can help you. If you get solicitors and stuff like that calling, you can block calls from those people. So like sometimes when you set up call tracking phone numbers, you'll have solicitors pick up anyone who's registered a new domain, which we do a lot, so you might have solicitors picking that up. When you register a new Google listing, they pick up that information. When you register a new phone number, they pick up that information. So you might get some solicitation calls, which is very, very normal. We tend to kind of monitor those calls and start blocking numbers to kind of control it. And it's really only bad at the beginning. It's just the nature of doing business, I guess. I mean, anytime you start a new business, people buy those lists or they scrape them and they solicit to them. So it's just kind of the nature of owning a business and the cost of doing business. So it's something you'll have to manage at first. So this is the one solution that I started with. Now I've moved away from this. And Twilio is another option. Like I said, if you're targeting a country besides the United States or Canada, this is kind of your go-to. And Twilio is way cheaper. I think it's like a penny per minute or something ridiculous like that. Might even be less than that. But Twilio is what I'm using now, but I'm not using Twilio as a standalone platform. And you can, if you want, use it as a standalone platform. But what I'm doing now is I'm switching everything over to this program called ACT, or Analytic Call Tracking. And I'm blurring a lot of stuff out because I've got personal client information and stuff in these numbers, by the way. So obviously I'm blurring these numbers out so that you can't see them. But I'm just starting this one off. I've only got 2 companies set up in this right now. But I'm moving all future business over to this platform. And the reason why is, number one, it's self-hosted. So I'm hosting everything myself. It uses Twilio's API so that you get the super cheap calling rates. You know, you can buy the numbers through this dashboard, which is really nice. I really like that part of it. But most importantly, it provides you with really, really great reporting features. I'll show you kind of what it looks like. Now, I don't have any calls coming in for this number today, but you can look at it. This was a pay-per-click campaign that we ran for a little while, and it generated a couple of phone calls, nothing major. But it was just kind of a little test to test out the tracking platform. But it gives you this nice graph. It gives you the calls that come in. You can record them, which is kind of nice. It's got a call report thing here, so you can export your report and do all kinds of cool things with that. Let me select one just to kind of show you what it looks like. So you can choose what kind of calls you want to show. Like, you might only show calls that are over 60 seconds because calls over 60 seconds are going to be great leads. Choose a company that you want to do the report for. If you have separate campaigns set up or separate area codes you want to show, you can do that. But I'm just going to generate this report. So it'll generate you a nice looking report, and you can take it and you can export it here, and you can shoot that off to the client, which is really nice. It allows you to set up a lot of different things. Whisper features, which is great for selling the leads. We're going to get into that later. What the whisper feature allows you to do is, at the beginning of the call, it'll say like, this lead was provided to you by Paul James, and it'll play that at the beginning of the call before your customer is allowed to speak to the client. So this is great for when you're trying to sell leads. You can forward the number to someone that you think you might want to work with, and then when they pick up the phone, it'll say this lead was provided to you by Paul James, and they have no idea who you are at this point. But once they start getting a couple good leads, you follow up with them and say, hey, this is Paul James. I'm the guy that's been sending you the leads. And you get your foot in the door right there because they want to know more about you, because they're like, oh yeah, that name rings a bell. I remember hearing that when I picked up the phone the other day and got that $1,000 root canal from you, or whatever, $1,500 root canal from your lead. So that's when you put in the position to negotiate pricing with them and stuff. So anyways, I'm going to have detailed tutorials on each of these. Analytic call tracking, I won't have a detailed tutorial on because I'm kind of new on it myself, but they have great tutorials built in with it. If I were starting off over again, I would go with analytic call tracking, because now all of my clients are over on CallFire, and I wish they were over on analytic call tracking. So I'm moving all future clients over here, and it's kind of sucky to have to work between both platforms. I really wish they were all built into this one to begin with, but this wasn't available when I first started off, unfortunately. But anyways, I'll give you a detailed overview of CallFire, a detailed overview of Twilio, and if you want to go with either of those two, you can. If you want to drop a little bit of money, I think it's a one-time investment for analytic call tracking, and then you host it on your own server and you're done with it, and you control everything. That's what I would do if I were starting over again. So I'll leave a link below for a free trial of that if you want to give it a go. I think it's a free trial. If it's not a free trial, it was like $1 trial or something like that. And you can try it out. I would definitely recommend at least giving it a try, because I think you're going to find it's awesome. It took me maybe an hour or so to go through the training videos and set it up. And if you find it too daunting to set it up, they'll actually set it up for you. So you might want to do that just to get things up and running quick. I set it up myself though because I have pretty good knowledge of you know, different programming languages and managing web servers and stuff. So for me, it wasn't an issue to set it up in an hour. But if you're not familiar with setting stuff up, you might want to have them do it for you. All right, well, that's call tracking. Go out there and get yourself a call tracking phone number. Do a lot of cool things with it. Most importantly, though, is be able to track your results, especially when you're doing pay per lead, because you need to be able to export those reports to get yourself paid every month. All right, guys, we'll catch you in the next video. All right, so another video coming back at you about controlling your own assets. And in this video, the asset we're going to be talking about is the website. So whether you go the lead gen route or the client getting route, like client SEO route, I still recommend you have your own website, even if you're doing client SEO, because we're going to be doing a lot of work on the website, and a lot of what we do to the website is going to directly influence the listing. So whether you do client SEO and you use your client's listing and address, you can still connect your own website, and essentially you're leasing that website to the client. Now, if you're going to go the lead gen route, then it won't matter because you're going to be controlling the listing, but you're going to have your own website anyway. So this video will be applicable to both scenarios. So there's a couple different ways to go out there and find a good domain to use when you're registering your website. You can either just go out there and buy a 100% new domain, which we'll talk about, or there's some benefit to going out and finding an aged domain, like a domain that was already registered and it expired or something like that. It's hard to find though usually, so it's not always an option. But I do generally like to look and see if I can find something, because if you can, it's going to speed up your ranking time tremendously. You know, a lot of times you can speed the ranking time up by just, I don't know, just crazy amounts of time compared to if you register a brand new domain. So most of the time, I would say probably 85% of the time, you're not going to be able to find an aged domain, but it doesn't hurt to at least look. So we're going to be talking a lot about aged domains when we get into private blog networks, but for now, I'll give you a brief overview of DomCop, which is one place that you can look for expired domains. You can come in here. You can type in a keyword up here, like let's say you're working on an attorney site. You can come up here and type in attorney and hit search, and it'll pull back all of the sites related to that keyword. So you might be able to find something in here. All right, there's some things in here that might work, and it'll show the domain age. Now, I really don't even care if it's only a year old. A year old is better than just being registered. So you might be able to find something, you might not. I would follow my guidelines in the private blog network training, though, about picking out a good domain if you decide to go this route. The other option besides DomCop is just to head right into GoDaddy auctions. Now, DomCop scrapes all of the registrars, or a large majority of them, including GoDaddy. But DomCop costs money, as you're going to find out in the PBN training. GoDaddy auctions, I think you can search for free, and then when you want to sign up for it, it's like $5 a month or something like that. But it works the same way. You can type in a keyword. It's kind of similar, and it'll show you kind of what's available. So some of them are really expensive, but a lot of them won't be. A lot of them will be $5, $11. So you can go through and you can do that. Your other option is to register a brand new domain name. And you always want to choose something generic when you're registering a domain name. And same if you're buying an aged one. The reason why is, let's say we are doing client SEO, right? Let's say we're doing client SEO and we're working with Bob's Plumbing. If we go and register bobsplumbing.net, and that's our site, and he owns bobsplumbing.com, and we just wanted to make it similar, we can't really rebrand that site to anyone other than Bob's Plumbing. So if Bob decides not to pay us next month, there's really no repercussion we can take. But if we register a generically branded domain name like reliableplumbingpros.com, we can then take that domain, we can customize it for Bob, we can put his logo on our site, we can put his pictures on our site. But if he doesn't pay us next month, it's not really any loss to us. We just disconnect our website from the listing, which you'll learn how to do later. He's going to lose his ranking within like a month, a couple weeks maybe even. And we can go and just take his logo off our site and his pictures off our site, and we can go over to Harry's Plumbing and put Harry's logo and pictures on and connect it to his listing. And all the work that we put into it is going to affect Harry now rather than Bob. So that's just kind of what I prefer to do. Now, you can put geomodifiers in your domain names if you want. Like if I'm working with a plumber in Milwaukee and it's Bob's Plumbing, I could go and register MilwaukeePlumbingPros.com. That would be fine. If you want to make it sound more company-like, you can go the route with like ReliablePlumbingPros.com or AffordablePlumbingPros.com. I do both ways. So depending on which way you choose, you'll structure your website a little bit differently as far as the permalinks are concerned to avoid over-optimizing, but we'll get into that coming up. So let's enter a keyword in here. This is a tool I like to use to register domain names or to find domain names. Like I said, 85% of the time you're going to be going this route. So this is a tool. It's Flawless URL that I've made available for you. It's pretty cool. You come in here and you enter in a phrase. So let's say you know that you want Plumbing Pros to be part of your keyword, to be part of your domain name. But obviously plumbingpros.com is probably not going to be available. So what you do is you come here and you select for the type popular prepends and you hit generate domain names. And it'll go through and it'll tell you what's available. It'll attach popular prepends to Plumbing Pros. So first plumbingpros.com available. That's a great name. A Plumbing Pros, allplumbingpros.com, bestplumbingpros.com, eplumbingpros.com. That's pretty good. I like that one. GoPlumbingPros.com, that would be good. HomePlumbingPros.com, that would work. Internet Plumbing Pros, Mega Plumbing Pros, MyPlumbingPros.com. So you see, it shows that these are all available. And if it's not available, it'll tell you it's not available. So what I do from this point is I would grab this and I would head over to my hosting company and select the plan I want. And we'll cover hosting in the next video. But JVZoo Host is the host that I recommend. And punch in your domain name in here and you can get started with the sign up process. But again, we'll cover the hosting part of it in another video. But that's what I do about URLs and controlling my assets with that. So for the end of this video, what you should take out of this is no matter which route you go, lead gen or client SEO, you're going to need a generically branded domain name, or maybe you can find an aged one. You should go out there and get one. Alright guys, we'll catch you in the next video. Hey there everyone, Paul James here, and I'd like to officially welcome you to Maps Mentor 2.0. I'm super excited to be releasing this course finally. It's been a long time coming. Maps Mentor 1.0 was just a great success. You're going to hear from some people inside of this course who have done awesome with the last one, and I'm sure you've probably read testimonials and stuff like that. And it's been a great experience. I've helped a lot of people with the last training, and I'm excited to share even more knowledge and insight that I've learned from my local business over the past few years. And it's just, Maps has been awesome for me. So I don't want you to skip this video or any other video for that matter, because like it says, Maps Mentor 2.0 is a business in a box, and it is step by step. So I'm not going to have any fluff really built into this course where it's something that like you feel like, oh, I can skip this. It's gonna be everything that you need, straight to the point, and I want to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. So the first thing that I do want to say is this is not a push button solution. It's not a get rich quick scheme. Like if you're coming into this thinking that just by spending money on this course you're going to be instantly making thousands of dollars every month, then you're under the wrong impression, because like it says, this is a real business. This is something that you're going to need to focus some time on, but it's a very lucrative and rewarding business. It's something that will still allow you to have the freedom, the internet lifestyle that you want. You can still get that from this, and that's what it's given me. So that being said, if you're willing to put in some work and turn it into the real business that it deserves to be, you're going to do really well with it. So I'd like to talk to you about your business assets, because every business has assets, and basically enrolling in this course, I do things a lot differently than a lot of other, trainings out there. And there really isn't much training on this topic that I've seen, but in general, you're basically now a landlord. I'd like to welcome you to the world of virtual real estate. So you're basically like a real estate investor, kind of like those house flippers that you see out in the real world who buy a crummy property and then put in some new flooring and new kitchen cabinets and turn around and flip it for a huge profit, or turn around and rent it out to someone. That's basically what you're going to be stepping into this course, only your assets are going to be different. So you're going to improve, renovate properties, which are web properties, and you're going to lease and rent those web properties, and in turn you're going to charge monthly for it. So you're going to basically rent them out. So I want to tell you not to give up. There's two kinds of people that are going to come into this course. I've seen it time and time again. There's people who come in and they do absolutely awesome. They push through some of the barriers that they come through, some of the struggles, and they keep trying and they give it their all, and they end up with really, really successful businesses. They end up quitting their jobs. I've seen it countless times. They end up doing, 5 figures a month easily, and I've seen people do upwards of over 20,000 a month, recurring every single month from work that they've put in from this course. And ranking in maps is simple, all right? It's simple, but it's not easy, all right? It doesn't mean it's always like going to be that way. Like it's maybe not easy right at first learning it, but once you practice it, it will be simple and easy for you. You just have to put in the practice. It's not like you're going to come into something and it's instantly going to be easy for you. It's a very simple process, is what I'm trying to say. It's very, there's very like step-by-step approaches. Do this, do that, do this, do that, and you'll get to the end point where you want to be. But that process might not be easy for you at first because there's going to be new concepts that you're not used to. But once you master those concepts, it'll be both simple and easy. So it's time to choose your path. With Maps Mentor 2.0, I wanted to let you choose your own path. In Maps Mentor 1.0, I kind of strayed my students into one path, and I found out that a lot of them wanted to do different things. So I've got two different paths for you that you're going to choose from. It's either the lead gen path, where you're going to use the maps listings to generate leads for your clients, or it's the client SEO path, whereas you work with just one client, and we'll talk more about what those are. So let's head over to a live example, because in order to better understand the difference, I want to take a look at some examples for you. So throughout this course, I'm going to be giving you some examples, and some of them will be just dummy listings that I've created for example purposes. Some of them will be my clients. So please don't call these people. Some of them might not even be my clients. I'm just showing you random listings. So don't call these people and harass them or anything like that. They're just for demonstration purposes so that I can help you learn. So I want to break down what a maps listing is really quickly, and then the components of it, and then that'll kind of better help you understand which route you want to take moving forward throughout the rest of the course. So this is a map listing right here. Now recently they've changed it to showing 3 listings, which eliminates a lot of the competition as far as who is going to call the client or not. So like if you're working with one client, there's only 2 other choices now that a customer can come and do a search for and call, which means as long as you have high conversions, you're going to be getting most of those leads. So that being said, let's talk about the components of a map listing. So if you click on one of these, the components are the business's name, and this is the actual listing, so that would be one component, the whole listing that shows up. The business's name, the business's address, which you can hide, so we'll talk more about that, but if you're going to do a lead gen listing, most of the time you're going to hide this. And then the phone number, and then there's also a website connected to it, which you can see right here. So those are the main components to every maps listing. We'll look at this one too as another example. So first off is the listing, the whole thing that we just clicked on. There's the business's name. There's the business's address, which in this case they showed it. Business's phone number, and the business's website. Now there's other components that go into this, but those are the main components that we're interested in so that I can show you and teach you the differences between these two business models. So let's start with lead gen. So with lead generation, you own everything. You own the address, you own the phone number, you own the website, and you own the entire maps listing yourself. Okay? So the way that works is you need a generic business name. So for example, if I'm working with Bob Anderson Heating and Cooling Professionals, I would go out there, I would get my own address, which we'll talk about how to do that in the course. I would get my own phone number, which again we'll talk about, my own website, and my own map listing if I was going to do the lead gen route. But when I name these properties, I'm not going to call them Bob Anderson. I'm not going to go out and register bobanderson.com, and I'm not going to call my listing Bob Anderson. Instead, I'm going to come up with something generic. Like I might call it Reliable Heating Professionals, and then go and buy reliableheatingprofessionals.com. So that way, when Bob Anderson gets his leads, he's going to pick up the phone and say, Bob Anderson's Heating and Cooling. Even though they came from Reliable Heating Professionals, it's so generically sounding that when he answers the phone, they're just going to hear the word heating and say, oh yeah, okay, I needed heating. And the leads that come to him, it really doesn't matter. So that's kind of how the lead generation business works. That's how that model works. Everything stays pretty generic so that you can basically forward your leads to anyone you want, and they can pay you on a per lead basis. So the lead generation pros, I'm going to give you some pros and cons of this method and then of the other method. They're very easy to sell. With the tracking number set up, you can very easily just forward a few leads to someone you think you might want to work with and let them basically test them out. And when they see how good they are, it's going to be like having to chop their own arm off to make those leads stop. They're not going to want them to stop. So at that point, you can charge them per lead and name your price. Maybe it's $30 a phone call or $45 a phone call or whatever. I'll show you more about how to determine pricing on per lead and stuff like that in future videos. The other pro of this is that you own everything. You own the listing, you own the address, you own the business's name that is bringing in the leads, you own the phone number. I mean, if they don't pay, it's very easy to just cut their leads off instantly, immediately, and get the leads going to someone else. So that's pretty cool. Let's talk about the cons. There are some cons about this method, and I know it doesn't sound like it, but there are some cons. It's borderline gray hat. And what I mean by that when I say gray hat is you're really not breaking any laws or anything like that. I'm not a proponent on doing anything illegal or anything like that. But it is a little bit gray hat because Google really doesn't like you doing it. You know, it's really not their preferred way of giving results to their visitors. Like when someone comes and searches something, they really want to see a real company show up at the top and not someone who's selling the leads. So it's borderline gray hat, meaning that Google really doesn't like it. So there is some risk there that you could potentially get one of your listings maybe suspended or shut down, but I've really never had it happen. I've heard it happen to some students in the past, but I've never had it happen to me, and I've done it quite a lot throughout my career. And the students that I have heard it happen to, it's really been like a one-time fluke thing. And even if, I mean, let's say you made $10,000 and then one day they shut your listing down. I mean, hey, at least you made $10,000. So this might be a route you choose to take. It might not. That's totally up to you. And we're going to talk more about how to make a decision on that. But that's one of the cons. Another one of the cons is that you need to rent addresses. So you can't use P.O. boxes. That's one thing that you're going to learn in future videos. You can't use P.O. boxes. So that means you need to get a hold of some street addresses. And I'm going to show you how to do that. But that's one con of it too. And then the other con of it is that you can only work in service-based industries. And what I mean is by that is you have to work in industries where your client is going out to the customer's homes, right? Because the reason why is since you need to rent addresses, you're most likely going to be hiding those addresses within Google. You're not going to be showing them. So for example, lead gen route wouldn't work very well with a dentist because people go into the dentist to get their teeth cleaned or to get a root canal done. Whereas with heating and air conditioning, they don't bring their furnaces in. The technician goes out to the home. So lead gen works great for businesses like that, like heating and cooling, like landscaping. And there's many others out there. So that's another con, depending on if what industry you want to work in. That might kind of sway your decision one way or the other. All right, so the other route you can choose to go is client SEO. And with client SEO, you're using existing clients' assets. You're using their business name, you're using their listing, and their address. Okay, so here's some pros about the client SEO. You can still be a landlord, okay? You can still be that digital real estate investor because you can still use your own website. In fact, a lot of the methods I'm going to share with you inside of Maps Mentor 2.0 revolve around using the website to power the listing, okay? The website, the work that you do on the website is going to power that listing to go up in search results. So you can still own the website, and that can be what powers their listing. You can also still own the phone number. So if you control, where the calls are coming in from, you can still own that. So if the client ever decided not to pay you, you could disconnect the website, you could disconnect the phone number from their listing, and because you put all of the focus on that, they would derank after a couple weeks. Okay, so there's still some pros there with that. You know exactly how much revenue that your client will be paying you each month. That was one thing that I really liked about client SEO. Like if I was going to charge my clients $997 per month, I know for sure 100% that every single month I'm getting that $997 coming in. Whereas if I'm charging per lead, I'm paid off of performance, right? So I'm only paid for how many leads I get in. So if one month I give them 30 leads, I'm getting X amount of dollars, and then the next month I only get them 20. Well, I just lost some revenue there. Other pros about client SEO is Google prefers this, right? They really want a business showing up on the top page rather than a lead generation company or site. There's also no work up front. With the lead gen route, you're having to go and get an address, you're having to create a listing, you're having to do all this work up front without getting paid. With client SEO, you usually get paid first before you do any work. So let's talk about the cons of client SEO. Obviously, it's harder to sell. If you're asking someone to give you money up front without showing them anything in turn first, it's going to be harder to sell because people buy from who they know and trust. The client also has to agree to using your website or phone number, right? If you want to be that digital landlord, which I highly recommend, right? You want to be that real estate investor, only the virtual online one. You have to use your own website and phone number. Otherwise, you have no repercussions if they decide they don't want to pay you anymore. So that's something. Or you risk ranking them and them not paying you after you've done the work, right? So you could go and you could spend all this time and money and energy ranking them and going through the Maps Mentor 2.0 program and getting them awesome results. And at the end of it, you've spent a lot of your hard-earned money, a lot of your time, and then the client says, I don't need you anymore. I'm already ranking. I'm not paying you. So those are some things to think about. And ultimately, at the end of this video, I want you to decide which route is better for you. Now, obviously, it's situational. If you have a dentist who you got referred to you, you're going to have to go the client SEO route. So it's situational. And also, it just depends on you. Some people aren't going to feel comfortable doing the lead gen route. Other people are going to feel it's the only way to go. Lead gen is the only way to go, they're going to feel. But it's totally situational. It totally depends on you. And it's a decision that only you can make. So think about it. And that'll kind of determine your course of action throughout the rest of Maps Mentor 2.0. All right, Paul James here again. And before we get into keyword research, I want to go over the order of importance for picking out keywords. And I'm starting off with a video on a whiteboard just because I want to do a little pattern interrupt and catch your attention and keep you learning. I think that it's important to kind of switch things up once in a while to keep things interesting. So we'll switch back and forth between the whiteboard and the computer. So order of operations. And I don't have the best of handwriting, so excuse my handwriting, but this is the order of operations. There's going to be 4 factors that we're looking at, okay, when it comes to keyword research. One of them is monthly search volume. One of them is suggested bid. And actually, it's only 3 things, I lied. One of them is suggested bid, and one of them is 3-pack with a question mark. Okay, and I'll explain to you what this all means. So, monthly search volume. This is how much volume the actual keyword gets. Okay, So is it getting 100 searches per month or is it getting 200 searches per month? Suggested bid, this means how much are they paying on advertising for that specific keyword. So, if you do a typical Google search, you'll have your regular results here, you'll have your map listings, but up here and over on the right here, you have ads. These are paid ads, okay? Ad. Okay, those are AdWords ads. And what happens is people pay per click for these ads. So the suggested bid will show you if people are indeed paying for ads and how much they're paying per click. So it's a metric that we like to take into consideration. And then the last one is a question. Does a 3-pack exist or not? And what I mean by that is if you Google the keyword, are you getting a map listings popping up? Okay, so are you seeing maps pop up? So here's the order of importance. I'm going to put it in order now for you, and it's backwards right now. This is your first important thing to look at. This is your second important thing to look at, and this is your third. Okay? So why are we more concerned with whether a 3-pack exists or not versus, say, monthly search volume or suggested bid? Why is this our first order of operations? Because that's what we're trying to do, is rank in the 3-pack, right? So if a keyword doesn't exist for a 3-pack when we do a search, then we really don't have any desire to go after it. Okay, at least not initially in my mind. So this is my first importance. This is how I structure it first. Second order of importance is monthly search volume. How many people are searching for it on a per month basis? Okay, so if I have 2 keywords, both of them pull 3-packs, but one of them gets 100 searches per month and then the other one gets 200 searches per month, I'm going to pick the one that gets 200 searches per month. Okay, suggested bid. This is my third order of operation. So let's say both of them have 3-packs, both of them get 100 monthly searches. Next we would look at the suggested bid. So if one has a suggested bid of $12 and the other one has a suggested bid of $5 and they both get the same search volume, both pull 3-packs, gonna go with the one that has a higher suggested bid, okay? So higher is better when it comes to suggested bid. Higher is better when it comes to monthly search volume as well. Okay? So first order of operations, second, third. So know that. Let's go hop on the computer and pick out some keywords. All right, guys, Paul James here. We're on the computer now, and we're going to walk through sorting out the keywords and that order of importance and all that good stuff. So here's what I want you to do. Grab a spreadsheet and type in 4 columns. Keyword, we're going to organize it by, and then of course we're going to map out monthly search volume. Let's put monthly search. Suggested bid, and 3-pack with a question mark. Okay, of course this is the parameters I already laid out for you in the whiteboard video. So the other thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our list of categories that we picked out from the Google My Business listing. It's just going to help us generate some keyword ideas. So we may use some of these, we may not. It all just depends. We probably will mention them somewhere, probably on the homepage specifically. We'll want to mention them in if we can, but it's not super important. I'll explain to you what I mean by that. The order of operations is going to be more so what determines where keywords go, but we're going to use this as a starting point. So here's what we're going to do. I've got 5 categories for my particular client for the heating niche, but now I'm going to start coming up with random ideas that I can think of off the top of my head and type them into this notepad document. Now I always use like a text document, or if you're on a PC, use like a WordPad or Notepad or whatever it's called, and organize your thoughts there first. So it'll make things easier, and I'll show you why. So if I were looking for a heating contractor, I might type in heating and cooling. I might type in heating and air conditioning. I might type in heating and air conditioning company. I might type in heating and air conditioning companies. So I'm trying to come up with a bunch of variations. Heating and cooling company. Heating and cooling companies. Heating and cooling contractor. Heating and air conditioning contractor, gas furnace repair, gas boiler repair, gas furnace installation, gas boiler installation. So I'm coming up with as many different things as I can possibly think of. And if I have a client who knows their industry really well, I might ask them for ideas. I might ask them for brochures or anything that might help me get to this point. And Google's going to help me too, but this is a great starting point. So I normally like to start here. Let's see what else. Maybe we'll do oil, furnace, repair, oil furnace installation, central air conditioning, repair. And I would encourage you to watch this whole video, okay? I'm gonna try to keep things as fast-paced as I can, but I think you're gonna learn a lot of new stuff in this video. You know, there's a lot of keyword research videos out there and other courses, but I think I cover things a lot differently. So I really do want to make sure that you watch it and get the most out of it as you can. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do now. I want some more ideas. This is a good starting point, but it's not enough. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to head over to Google. I'm already at Google. And I'm going to type in the word heating and cooling Milwaukee. And I'm just assuming I'm trying to rank in Milwaukee. And I'm going to look for one of my competitors who looks like they're optimized good. So let's check out the #1 position. I'm opening their site up in a new tab. Yeah, not too impressed based off of their website. They might be optimized okay, but I'm trying to look for a website that has a lot of content, and I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, so this looks good. I'm looking at their menus. They have lots of different pages, lots of content. So that's what I'm really looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab their domain, so blauplumbing.com, and I'm going to head over to adwords.google.com. Now there's a lot of paid keyword tools out there, and you can use them if you want. SEMrush is one that comes to mind that I really like and really enjoy, but they come with a cost. They're pretty expensive and they're not needed. Okay, it's not a requirement. As you start to get clients and scale up, then I might recommend taking on one of those. But to start off with, I mean, the free keyword tool that comes with Google AdWords is plenty fine, and that's what we're going to work with, because I'm going to assume most of you guys are going to want to stick with free alternatives. So whenever I can give you a free alternative to not have to pay for something, I'm going to. So Google AdWords, adwords.google.com, sign up for an account. You might have to tie a credit card to it, but you don't have to actually pay for anything. You don't have to run any ads. You come up to tools, you're going to hit this keyword planner thing, and this is where we're going to work out of. This is free. Okay, so here's what we're going to start by doing. We're going to hit search for new keywords using phrase, website, or category. And where it says your landing page here, we're going to remove all of our targeting. Make sure, so let me backtrack a little bit. Right here where it says targeting, 6 selected locations, you want that to say all locations. So if it has locations in there, remove them all and then save it. So likely because you'll be coming into a fresh account or your own account and maybe you haven't used this before, it's going to say all locations, but I use this tool all the time, so mine didn't. So all locations, that's what you want it to say. And then you want to come up here where it says your landing page, and you want to paste in a competitor that you picked out, okay? And hit get ideas. So what Google's going to do is they're going to go and they're going to crawl your competitor's page, and we can hit this keyword ideas tab now, and it's going to generate us a bunch of ideas. Look at it. We've basically stolen all of their keywords. Okay, we've taken all of their work, and now I'm going to write down some additional ideas now on my sheet. Okay, air conditioner, heating and air, central heating and air. Oh, that's a good keyword. Air conditioner prices. That's a good buyer's keyword. Whenever you see the word like prices or cost or something like that, that's a person who's looking to buy. They're in the research phase. Heating and cooling units, central heat and air. All right, so I'll grab some off of there. I would keep going though, probably. You know, you're gonna want to spend a lot of time doing this. So I'm trying to not borderline bore you with this, but at the same time let you kind of see what I do. Let's check out these guys. Donovan Jorgensen. All right, and by the way, I probably shouldn't be clicking on their AdWords ads. So if you can avoid doing that, just visit the site because they're getting charged for that. I just happened to think about that. So I'm going to plug in their thing and hit get ideas and see what comes up on their end. All right. So they have heating, air conditioning without the and. Central air conditioning. Oh, I think we had that already. Oh, geothermal heating and cooling. There's another new one. Oh, heating and air conditioning service. That was the one I hadn't thought of. All right, good enough. So I've got a pretty decent size list here. I would say at least 20. And I've shown you different ways now to come up with that list to start with. So now we're gonna go back to the keyword tool. We're gonna start over, and now we're gonna get more specific with things. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna come again and go to search for new keywords using a phrase, website, or category. But this time we're gonna select location. So we're gonna come into all locations, and we're gonna type in the city that we're targeting. Okay. So I'm targeting Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm gonna add it to the list. Now, in addition to adding Milwaukee, Wisconsin to the list, I'm also going to add 4 surrounding cities around Milwaukee that also are nearby. And these can be cities that you're targeting or your customer is targeting, or they can just be nearby. And the reason why is because if a keyword does good in Milwaukee, Google might not have enough data for just Milwaukee, but if you start to plant in other cities nearby, they might have more data for it, and it's just going to give you a clearer perspective. You know, if a keyword is doing good 10 miles out from Milwaukee, it's going to do good in Milwaukee too. So if you don't know, you can just go to maps.google.com, like if you're not familiar with the area, and type in the city you're targeting, and then you can just pull the nearby cities like West Dallas, Wauwatosa, Brookfield, New Berlin. You can just pull them from there. Otherwise, if you're from the area, I mean, it's going to be pretty easy for you to do that because you're familiar with it. All right, so good. I'm going to save this. So now I've got all those locations in there. And guess what I'm going to do next? I'm going to take this entire list of keywords and I'm going to pop it in here to where it says your product or service. I'm going to pop them all in right there. And I'm going to hit get ideas. Okay, so now this is going to paint a pretty accurate picture for us. As soon as it's done loading, we're going to hit keyword ideas. And let me break this down for you. So once it loads, the top box is exactly what we typed in. Okay, exactly what we typed in. And then as you scroll down, you're going to get this next box down here. See how it's separated? This is not what we typed in, but Google thinks that we might be interested in these keywords based on the keywords we typed in above. So you want to spend a lot of time going through all of these and analyzing all of the data. You'll spend a lot of time during this phase because it's a really important phase of sorting things out. So now is when you'll start to use this spreadsheet and start plugging things in. So we'll start right at the top with air conditioner. Air conditioner is our keyword. Monthly search, it shows it in this column right here, 590. Suggested bid, $2.39. Okay, and does it get a 3-pack? So let's go find out. Go to google.com, type in air conditioner, and I'm going to type in Milwaukee because I'm not actually in Milwaukee right now. Boom, it does get a 3-pack. So we're going to put a yes there. So if you remember our order of operations, the 3-pack, we wanted a yes there. That was our first order of operations. If it didn't get a yes there, then we're not interested in the keyword. Next order of operation was a monthly search. This is how many people are searching for that on a monthly basis. And suggested bid would be next. That's how much people are paying. If we click on like this ad or this ad, they're getting charged $2.39 roughly. Okay, so then we would go on to the next one, heating and cooling. Average monthly searches of 170. $12.70 suggested bid. Now, this will also help you price your services too. We'll talk more about that in a little while. But if they're paying $12.70 for just a click, obviously they're going to be willing to pay a lot for like an actual phone call or for an exclusive lead. So, all right, heating and cooling Milwaukee. Let's type that into Google. All right, we get a 3-pack, so that's good. So yes. Okay, I'll just do maybe one more on this sheet and then we'll kind of move on. Heating and air conditioning is the next one. All right, monthly search of 30. Suggested bid of $20.17. That's a nice one too. Boom, we get a 3-pack. Awesome. So, yes. So, based on what we've come up with, I think we can successfully determine that so far this isn't an exact order of what we want. They all get 3-packs, so they all pass that first order of operation, and then the monthly search would be next. 590, 170, 30. They're all kind of in order. Now, there's something I want to point out to you, and that is this. You notice that a lot of these will say 10 for average monthly searches. Now, what I've noticed is the data isn't always super accurate. I noticed that they put 10 or they put like this little hyphen or dash through when they don't have enough data to give you an accurate representation of it. So that's why I like to use suggested bid. So there'll be times where it'll show just 10 for all of them, but they'll have, cost per clicks or suggested bids of $18.04. That tells me something. That tells me that they must be getting traffic there, because if people are paying $18.04 for this click, it must be worth a lot. And there's been cases where we've ranked under that certain keyword, and Google told us that it had a dash through it and it got nothing, but it had a high suggested bid and we would get like 30 calls per month off of it. So it was pretty awesome. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna fill up my sheet a little bit more, and then I'll play the video again, but I won't make you watch me do that because that'd be a little bit boring. Alright guys, so I'm back and I've compiled my list here. I've automatically just removed, as I was going through, the ones that had no for the 3-pack. I just didn't even bother including it. So I've got some pretty decent numbers here, and I'm going to start by, since I know my first order of operations are all yes, we'll go next with the second order of operations and start putting this into order a little bit more. So I'm going to highlight everything and I'm going to come into my custom sort here and hit custom sort. And for the column, I'm going to do monthly search, and I want to go largest to smallest, and we're going to hit OK. And that sorts it from largest to smallest, so I can see exactly, really quickly, what keywords are getting the most search volume. Okay, so I can kind of total this all up, too, so I know kind of what to project. So if I want, I can insert a function in here for the sum of this row. So I know I can expect a monthly search of about 1,650 visitors per month. So that just kind of gives me an idea of what to expect. Now, that's a lot when it comes to local. That's really decent, because it doesn't take many good leads to, say, a heating and cooling company to make or break it for them. So I might organize this a little bit further and start divvying up my categories. I might take this list and try to organize it a little bit more, or I probably would just go straight to the site structure and organize it, is what I normally do. But some students like to organize this a little bit further, like put the furnace keywords together in order of importance, put the air conditioning keywords together in order of importance. But I normally take it from this point and grab a notepad and just draw up my silo structure right away. So watch that video on how to do the silo structure. I'll map out an example one based on my research here for you guys to look at, and that'll kind of help you out as well. We'll revisit this spreadsheet too in a separate video to help you determine what your leads are worth as well. Alright, so thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Alright guys, Paul James here, and in this video I'm going to show you the strategies that you can use to find low-hanging fruit niches. And the reason why you might want to go after a low competitive niche is not Not because that you can't rank with Maps Mentor in high competitive niches, because you definitely can. We do it all the time. It's because you'll spend less time and less money ranking in the low-hanging fruit niches, and you'll do a lot less work. You might find that when you target one of these low-hanging fruit niches that you only have to apply some of the stuff in Maps Mentor and not all of it. Like maybe you just do really good on-page website optimization, or maybe you just do some backlinks, or maybe you do some citations, and maybe that'll be enough to do just one of those things to boost your listing up. Whereas if you enter a competitive industry, you're going to look at doing all of the things. So something to think about. So the first thing I look at, and obviously I'm going to point this out right away, is when you search for your keyword or your niche and your city, there should be a 3-pack that shows up. Like if I do excavator Cedarburg, there's no 3-pack. So if you don't see a 3-pack, that kind of X's it off the list right away. All right, it means that Google doesn't think that the keyword gets, enough importance to even show a 3-pack. So if it's not showing one, then stay away from it. So that's first. Make sure there's a 3-pack. Other than that, one of the first things I look at is the number of reviews that the top 3 have, the 3-pack have. So I see in this example, they have 5. There's 1 here and 2 here. All right, reviews play a factor in optimization. They also play the biggest factor in conversion. So, if we have to compete with people who, have hundreds of reviews, that's a lot of work and something that I usually stay away from. All right, so like if we look at another search, Dentist Los Angeles, we can see, these reviews start to jump up into the 30s and almost 40s, right? And it definitely plays a factor in ranking to some extent. So my advice is, if you start to see stuff that looks like this is definitely not low-hanging fruit. You can pretty much determine that based off of the review count alone. All right, so anyways, this is the kind of stuff I look for. Now, website icons, this can also be a dead giveaway of whether or not the niche is saturated or not saturated. Now, this niche, it's safe to say it's not saturated, just because not even the whole 3 have 5-star ratings. 2 of them don't even have that. But we can find even lower hanging fruit than this, which, might be good, might not be. But and you'll have to use keyword research too to kind of help you pick out a niche. So that should be a given. You should go through the keyword research module as well to help you pick out a niche, because you'll want to see search volume and suggested bid, which might not make a whole lot of sense now, but it'll make more sense when you go through that module. So use that hand in hand with this module to pick out a niche. But here's what I mean by that. If I do Dentist Thiensville, these 2 have website icons, but this one doesn't. So what that means is Shore Peter J DDS listing is ranking without even having a website. So that really goes to show that it's low competition. Now, again, you would use keyword research to kind of determine if this is even a niche worth going after or not. But, most likely you still get some leads out of here too. And probably with very little effort. You could probably just slap up a new listing, put a website on it without doing much anything else, and you probably rank with something as low competition as this. Okay, so let's pretend that Dentist Cedarburg is what we wanted to target, and kind of passed our review check. That all looks good. There's not too many reviews, so I think we're good there. The next logical thing to look at would be how many backlinks are coming into the website. So you can go through and analyze all of your competitors, all 3 of them, or you can just go with maybe the top 1 or whatever and use that. So let me show you kind of what I do. So I grab their URL link up here, and I use a tool called Majestic to do this. It's majestic.com. And I think you can use certain features of Majestic for free. I'm not sure exactly which ones, but otherwise, if you set up a paid plan, it runs you like $120 every quarter. So like every 4 months. But what you want to do is you want to plug in the URL here, and we're going to talk a lot more about Majestic when it comes to the backlinking module as well. So it's a really valuable tool. But you plug in your competitor's URL here and hit search. And I'm going to show you the main metrics we're concerned with here. The main metric we're concerned with is referring domains. I like to see this number under 25, pretty much well under 25. If it starts to creep up to 25, Then I start looking at these two metrics at the top here, this trust flow and citation flow. Now, particularly what I'm looking at between these two numbers is, are they close together? So if my trust flow was 25 but my citation flow was 10, that would be pretty far apart. And what that would signify to me is that they have not very good backlinks, that Google's not going to give them much credit for those backlinks. So if they had 25 backlinks and they were far apart, that would signify to me that it still could be acceptable, because I can probably compete with that by going after really good backlinks. So if this referring domain number, which this is the backlink number, this means that they have backlinks coming from 8 different domains. Okay, you may wonder what this number is, external backlinks. We don't pay attention to this one much because these backlinks could be coming from the same sites. They could have like 5 backlinks on one domain on separate pages. So we're more concerned with the referring domain number. All right, so I want this to be under 25. When it starts to creep up to 25, I look at the trust flow and citation flow to see how far apart they are. But worst case scenario, I think I can get 8 really good backlinks, or 9 to outrank them. And chances are I'll probably need even less than that, because there is some separation here between citation flow and trust flow. So that would be the next logical thing to look at and analyze that on your competition. And we'll dive into more about Majestic. I'm bringing in an expert at domain buying, and Patrick, his name is, he'll talk more about Majestic too. But this is really all you need to know about Majestic at this point. All right, so hopefully this helps you in picking out a niche. Use this video hand in hand with the keyword research video, because they kind of go hand in hand, but it should give you some ideas. Oh, one last thing too. Those of you who are going the lead generation route, where you're going to do like the rent a mailbox and sell the leads, if you're looking for niche ideas, Home Advisor is a competitor in the space of selling leads. The thing with Home Advisor is their leads aren't exclusive. So they'll send the lead to 5 different contractors at once, and they'll still charge them all for it, even if their competitor got the job. So they send it to 5 different people, and whoever gets the job first is the winner, and they still charge all 5 people for the lead. So they're your competitor, but they're not, it's not really threatening, because everyone I know that's used Home Advisor doesn't really care for them too much. But the reason why I'm showing you Home Advisor's site is, if you're going to go that route, it only makes sense to kind of reverse engineer the niches that they're targeting, because they have this system down. So if you're looking for niche ideas for lead gen, this is a great place to start. You can go in here and look at all of the different types of categories, gazebos, concrete, awnings, different stuff, and that'll kind of help you pick out a niche. So anyways, I hope this video is helpful, and we'll catch you in the next video. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the process of exactly how I go and map out this silo structure. So what I like to do is I like to have the spreadsheet sitting in front of me, and normally I would just have it on my computer, but for illustration purposes I'm going to set it down here, and hopefully you'll be able to see it good enough on camera. And then over here I just have a blank sheet of paper, and you can just use like a notepad paper or whatever you want. So I'm going to start off by drawing our home box, and then we'll draw 3 boxes for our first level silo, because I've determined that in my niche, I'm going to have 1 column for heating, I'll probably have 1 column for air conditioning, and then I'll have 1 that kind of covers everything. So I'm going to go down the list here and decide where it fits in best. So air conditioner, 590 monthly searches, so that's the highest, most important keyword. So I'll start over here with that one. So I'm going to do air conditioner. Okay, so that's my top level for that one. Okay, next most important is HVAC. So I'm going to put that under its own row, its own column, I mean. All right, and this is going to be home, of course, so we'll go ahead and we'll put home there. All right, next is furnace. So I think that can definitely go under its own category, so that would be next. All right, and I didn't actually organize the sheet any different than what you saw. I just sorted from highest to lowest, and I'm just kind of going through now and putting them where they belong. All right, next is heating and cooling. So I'll put that under the HVAC column, because just because of the way I'm organizing my site, it makes sense to put the combined keywords under this. So let's do that. Heating and cooling. Great. All right, air conditioning, that can go over here right under air conditioner. Now, if you were to have a lot of keywords, when you get keywords that are really similar, like air conditioner and air conditioning, you could actually combine them into the same page, but because I chose a limited number of keywords, I'm just going to separate it. All right, next one is another air conditioning keyword, central air conditioner. So put that right underneath. And I don't have the best handwriting, but I think you'll get the point. Furnace repair, so that can go under this one. Good. Gas furnace, again, that can go under this one. All right, and then heating and air conditioning, that can go here. And again, you know, if I had a lot of keywords to choose from, I might combine that one with this one since they're so similar. But I'm not going to this time because I feel like I don't really have that many right now. This is supposed to say and, heating and air conditioning. All right, and last one is furnace tune-up, which of course can go into this one. So as you can see, not all of the silos are as deep as the next one. You know, this one has 4 levels deep. This one only has 3. So now we're gonna do our arrows, right? So the home page is gonna link to the top of each one. So we'll just draw arrows. And then from there, they're going to interlink to one another, starting with the left column all the way down, and then back up to the next column after that. All right, and then we'll interlink that one back up here. Just like I did on the whiteboard video. All right, and then this one's going to go back up all the way to the home page. And that's it, guys. So map that out just like I did from level of importance, and then we can go and translate that onto the computer when we actually build out the website, and it'll make things really easy for us. All right, guys, Paul James here coming at you with another video, and in this video I'm going to show you how we properly structure the website. Now, I'm going to do things a little bit different in this video because I thought it would be kind of cool to illustrate on a whiteboard how to do it rather than trying to draw things out with the mouse in Photoshop. Although I'm not sure the art will be much better on the whiteboard, but I think it'll help switch things up and do a little pattern interrupt on you and help you learn a little bit better, because it kind of gets boring looking at the same thing over and over and over again. So just make things a little bit different. Hopefully this will kind of help out. So what you're looking at is a bunch of different boxes on the whiteboard, and these boxes are going to resemble different pages on your website, okay? So this top box is going to be the home page of your site. Not really much to say about the home page yet. It's really the place where we're going to convert the traffic. So, you know, you want to have maybe a video, definitely want lots of call to actions, whether that be phone numbers, whether that be forms. It's just designed to convert the prospect, so I'm not too much concerned with keyword optimization on this page, other than what I'm going to show you with interlinking everything together. So that's the home page. Now, these pages here, they're set up in a certain fashion, and they're separate columns, and each column might have a certain number of rows. It doesn't really matter. It just is going to depend on how many keywords you pick out based on the keyword research module, of course. So we'll kind of dive into that, but what I want you to know about this is this is referred to as a silo structure, and You can do a lot of research out there on silo structures. I've tested out a lot of different ones, and there's a lot of great training out there and YouTube videos and such on silo structures, and they can get really complicated and they can be really simple as far as the different structures. But the one I'm going to show you is one that's been working out good for me in the past year or so. I've been using this specific one, and I've been recommending it to my students, and it's been working out good for all of us. So that's the one I'm going to teach you today. So the first thing that I'm going to share with you is each page is interlinked together. All right. So I'm going to signify links with these arrows. So an arrow, when you see an arrow coming off of like the home page over to this page, it means that I literally put a link on the home page, and when they click it, they land on the next page, which would be this one over here. Okay. So in my anchor text, this little blue thing, like my anchor text, when they click on it, is going to be the keyword for this page. So if this page over here is about heating, and that's my keyword, my anchor text on the home page that links to that page is going to be heating. So it's kind of like an internal backlink. So I'm going to delete that for now, or erase it. So let me show you how we interlink these pages together. So first off, the home page is going to interlink with each of the top rows of each column or each silo. And then from there, they're going to interlink with each other. So they're going to go down the line, just like this. So this page is going to have a link going to this one. This one's going to have a link going to this one. Now when we get to the end of a column, we're going to wrap that link back up to the top of the next column. Okay? So it doesn't really matter where you end. It just depends on how many keywords you have over here, which we'll talk about that a little bit more. But just know that when you do end, you'll link it back up to the top of the next column. So we'll do the same thing over here. And then at the end of this one, link up to the next one. And then same here. Now on your last column, you're going to do something a little bit different. So instead of linking up to the next column, we don't really have one because this is the end of our silo, the end of our site. We're going to instead link it back up to the home page, okay? So like this. We link back to the home page. All right? So now you know how all the pages are interlinked, right? This is the reason why we're doing that. If I send a backlink to this page here, okay, let me grab a different color so that we don't get things confused. If I send a backlink over here, it's going to first affect this page, but immediately after affecting this page, it's going to affect the next pages that are interlinked out from, which in this case is this one, and this one, right? The top three, because we're looking at the arrows coming out. So my backlink is not only going to affect this home page, but it's going to affect the next three directly underneath it. So I'll go ahead and erase that. That's the reason why we're interlinking it in this fashion. So given that, you want your most important keywords to be closer to the top, right? Because since any backlink I send to the home page, the first three pages that are going to get hit with that backlink next, with that juice, are going to be the top three. So your most important will go towards the top, and then we'll just put less important, because it's not really like least important. It's still important, but it's less important. Okay? So this is kind of the order of importance. Most important to least important down here. Now, that being said, how do you determine which keywords go in which column? So that's determined by relevancy. So I'm going to grab a different color again. You want to keep your columns relevant. So here's what I mean by that. If I'm in this column and I'm talking up here about heating or furnaces, I want to keep this box and this box also talking about heating or furnaces. I don't want to talk about heating here and then move on to this box and talk about cooling. Okay? Instead, that's a no. I wouldn't want to do that. Instead, I'd want to take cooling and move it over here in its own category, right? And then maybe in this category, I'll talk about ventilation. So that's how you want to structure your site. You want to categorize the columns. And then within the categorization of it, you want to go from most important to least important. Okay? So we'll kind of break that down as well. But so let's just say, for example, I'm talking about gas furnace repair. Let's say that was my most important keyword in this category. Now I'm not going to go and start talking about air conditioning here. The next logical thing would pick another keyword in this category that gets, the next top priority, which maybe in this case would be boiler repair, because boiler has to do with heating and furnaces have to do with heating. So in this case, that's just how I'm choosing to structure it. Now with a dentist, you might structure it totally different. Okay, and that's the thing. It's flexible, and you can structure it however you want. You can kind of determine how you want your categories to be. It doesn't have to follow, you don't have to follow any of my certain categories. You can categorize it as you want, but you should stick with whatever format you come up with throughout the entire site. So over here I might talk about pediatric dentistry, and then over here I might talk about cosmetic dentistry in this column. So that's what I mean when I say that. So I would keep all these keywords for pediatric dentistry. I would keep all these keywords for cosmetic dentistry. So you can see that's why your number of boxes going downwards might change, because in the cooling column I might be only able to come up with 2 keywords, whereas in the heating column I might be able to come up with 3. So at a minimum, I would suggest you have 5 to 6 separate pages other than your home page, at a minimum, and each of them should have 300 to 500 words articles of unique content. Okay, and I'll talk more about content in a different video, I'm sure, but just know that each box you make, that's how much content you need to produce for it, so that might determine how many keywords you decide to pick out. Alright, so that wraps up this video. Alright guys, Paul James here, and in this video I'm going to show you how we go about outsourcing content writing. Now, you have your silo all mapped out. You need a 300 to 500 word article for each of your pages, so this is what you're looking at: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, 10 articles, right? So I need 10 300 word articles roughly. I can either write them myself about the said topic, or what I like to do is I like to use this site to outsource it. So I'm going to run through how I do it. So I come in here, I hit get content, and I'm going to hit next. And what I want to do is I want to have articles written. Project description, I normally like to put something like this. Write for I'm going to put heating and cooling company. I don't want to put HVAC because I think that many outsourcers might not understand what that means. So I'm just going to say heating and cooling, category home improvement, 300 words. Alright, so this part is kind of important. There's basically 4 different types of writers on this site. What this site does is they compile a huge group of writers, and then as people start paying them to write articles, you're able to rate them at the end based on their article quality. So that's what this scale is based off of. Now, the higher the rating that the article writer has, the more they get paid, and the more you pay for the article. So if you do a basic, it's going to be submitted to all writers, which will cost you $2 per article. So that would be a good starting point, but you're going to have to do a lot of editing on that article. It's going to come back and have some grammatical errors, stuff might not make sense, so you'll still spend some time modifying it. So I like to go with premium. This puts you between 4.1 and 5 star, and you do a lot less editing, a lot less grammatical errors. I don't like to go with Elite or Elite Plus. It just starts to get really expensive. $7 an article. The Elite Plus is really expensive, like 17 or 21. So I go with this one, $4.50 per article. So I just plug in the minimum. That's what I do every time. And now I'm just going to start punching in my keywords. So air conditioner, air conditioning. So just one per line. Central air conditioner, HVAC, heating and cooling. I'm looking at my other computer because I have the silo diagram over there. Heating and air conditioning, furnace, furnace repair, gas furnace, and furnace tune-up. Alright, and again, I just grabbed it from my silo. Just grabbed each box, punched it in. So here's my total project cost, $45. Professional tone for the writing style is usually what I go with. So article purpose: to convince visitors of our company website that we are the heating and cooling company that they should choose to work on their home. So just say something of that nature. Special instructions. I like to say do not copy, must be 100% unique content. And that's it. Now, a lot of people ask me, a lot of students in the past have asked me, do I submit my project to a list of specific writers? You know, surely if I'm on here writing articles all the time, I must have a list of people that I like to work on my stuff. And actually, I don't. And the reason why is because normally what me and my team do is we come in here in the morning, we punch in our stuff, and usually by the evening we have most of these articles done for us. So that's why I just like to let whoever comes to it first do it. And usually as long as you go with this premium, you end up with pretty good stuff. And you can always decline it if you don't like the article too. So that's it. Submit the project and you're good to go. Alright guys, in this video we're going to talk about citations. Now, I know we've done some talk about it in a lot of other videos, so you may have heard about it before up until this point. Maybe you know what they are, maybe you don't, but I'll just give you a brief overview and then we'll jump into what they are and how I go about getting them. So citation stands for, well, people abbreviate a citation as NAP, which is basically the name of the business, the address, and the phone number. So that's where the initials come in, NAP. So when you hear people talk about citations and say the NAP, they mean the name of the business, the address, and the phone number. So when you see these details on another site, directory sites are really powerful. Like if you see it on Yelp, Angie's List, Hot Frog is a popular one. When you see those listings, those are considered local directory or citations. And when the name, address, and phone number is on those sites, it can provide like a backlink basically, which is great. So consistency is important, meaning whatever's on Yelp should match Angie's List, should match Hot Frog. They all should match. And of course, most importantly, is it should match however you put it on the Google My Business page. So here's an example of a citation, right? This information on any other site, that's considered a citation. Now, if you put on your Google My Business listing, or if it shows up as 123 Water Street with street all the way spelled out, then you should make sure it's all the way spelled out. Don't put it in there like ST if it's not in there like that. If it's in there all the way spelled out, put it in all the way spelled out, just to be on the safe side. So now that you know what a citation is, let's talk about how you get them. So let's say that you wanted to get a citation on hotfrog.com. It's a common site that we normally get citations on. One of the ways we would do that is just come to the site and click this link. It's free. Create your business profile now. Add your business. And here it is. It's just like you create any other site, any other account on any other site is business name, address. You know, just follow this wizard. If it asks for keywords, you should pop in your top level silo keywords here. And if they allow even more keywords than that, it wouldn't be a bad idea to throw in your Google categories as well. For the login name, if I'm doing a lead gen site, I'll usually just do like a fake name or my own name. If I'm working with a client, then I'll usually just use their information for this. And that's pretty much it. Sometimes citations out there already exist. So I did a search here for Dentist West Bend, and I'm going to search for this West Bend Dental Center's phone number and see what citations I can find on them. So this is one way you can find your competitor citations. So for example, here's a Merchant Circle listing, directory listing. Now, if any of the information on here wasn't correct, you'd want to make sure you update it, right? Like if the phone number didn't match. So that brings up another point. If you're going to use a tracking phone number, and I recommend that you do in most cases, you're going to need to come and claim these old citations and make sure you change the number out to your tracking phone number. Okay, so there is some work involved with that, but it's only going to benefit you in the long run. You know, it's something that you only have to do once, and then you're going to reap the benefit of it over and over again. So Anyways, every citation site is going to be slightly different, which is why I'm showing you another one. This one, it puts a little thing here that says, is this your business? Claim your business. So that's what an already existing citation might look like, and then you'll have to claim it. And again, every citation site is going to look different. So you're going to have to kind of use common sense and figure it out. But basically, you'll create an account, and that'll be the end of it. They don't normally do verification like they do with the Google My Business listings. They normally will create the account, send you an email confirmation link. Normally you'll click it, and then it'll create the account for you. One thing to note is when you're first creating citations, and you don't have to do this like spread out over time. You can do it all at once if you want. I haven't had a problem with doing them all at once, but the phone will get blown up for about a week or two after, with these companies calling you trying to upsell you into their premium, listing or something like that. I normally just pass on that. So, if you're doing client SEO, you might want to let your client know that. We normally give them a heads up and say, we're going out and creating you a bunch of these directory listings, and they're going to try to sell you on their premium listing, and you don't need it. I'm taking care of everything for you. So just tell them you're not interested. So how do you know which citations to go after? There's some different approaches to this. You can come to this site. It's on Moz, SEO Moz, which is a great site to follow and keep up with. But they have the best local citations by category. And then they also have it by city over here on the left. So, for example, if you're working with an attorney, you can click here and you can see the top ones for attorneys, and you can go after those. So that's one way of going about it. You can do by city. So it'll show the top cities. The other way to go about it is to reverse engineer what your competition is doing. And I'll show you how we do that. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type in Waukesha, Wisconsin, HVAC contractor. Type in your main Google category. So just like it says, they're going to send me an email when the results are ready. So I'll pause the video until that happens. All right, we're back. So check this out. WhiteSpark came back and it gave me the report. Now, these are the top ranking businesses in the map. And then here's me, number one in this case. So it's going to show you the number of citations, right? So this can kind of paint a picture for you of how many you're going to need to show up here. Now, I see a lot of SEO experts talk about with local business that citations are the only important thing when you're trying to rank in maps. And this should be enough to show you that clearly that's not the case. I mean, I'm ranking number one and I have the least amount of citations here, right? So if I were to look at this, the best thing to do would be to total all of these up and then divide it by 7 and get the average, right? And try to get that many as an average. But I can specifically look at my competitors and see, what citations they have by clicking this View Sources button. So you can see they have Yelp, Dex Knows, eLocal, Porch, Manta, Merchant Circle, right? Merchant Circle we covered in when we were searching for the dentist, and I can export these to a CSV file. So I could go and take that and go after those citations as well, or a combination of all of them, which is another way to go and just basically reverse engineer what your competition is doing. But that being said, be warned that there's a lot of SEO experts out there who say citations for maps is all you need, and it's not all you need. Sometimes it can be the case, but in this case it's clearly not. Sometimes backlinking is more effective. Sometimes my silo structure that I mapped out for you is more important. So there's a number of factors at play, but citations are something you definitely want to think about doing, because it's one of the easiest things to do that can get you sometimes the most results, but it's not always the case. So that being said, this is another way to gather them, and you can do it that way. Now, if you don't want to create all these citations yourself, I use this guy over on Source Market. I'm sure a lot of you know what Source Market is. Those who don't, it's a really great site. It's basically like Fiverr for SEO, and there's just tons of gigs on there. Now you want to be careful with what you buy, because You don't want to do anything spammy. No spammy SEO. There's a lot of, gigs that aren't going to get you anywhere and maybe even get you penalized. So this is one that I've used often, and this seller is really good. I really like them. So they do 50 of them for 20 bucks. I believe if you pay, I think it's like $10 extra, you can give them a custom list of exactly which ones you want them to go after. But I mean, if you're just going to kind of hit the ground running, just order the 50 and he'll go after 50 of the top ones for you. And that'll be enough to get you started and approach it that way. So here, I'll show you a report of what this looks like. They send you the login details and everything so that you can go back in later and edit it. And we just normally save this Excel sheet in a folder for our clients. So let me find that. All right, so this is what the report looks like, and I'm gonna blur it out because my account details are in there. But this is what the report looks like. 50 of them coming in, and from there you've got 50 citations. So this is an easy way to get a nice boost, but just remember it's not the only thing that counts, and very clear by the example I showed you, but it's definitely something you want to think about doing. At least order that gig of 50 and get started with that for a starting point, and just kind of see where that takes you. Wait a couple weeks and see where that takes you. All right, so thanks for watching this video. I hope that this helps you out. All right, guys, in this video, I'm going to show you a really cool strategy to grab a citation directly from Google using their platform called My Maps. Now, I learned about this strategy actually in the forums from another student. So if you're not in the forums, you definitely need to be checking that out. Share what you know, other people share what they know, and we all grow together, and we all learn new stuff. So it's really important that, we're all in there masterminding and just communicating with what's going on. But anyways, I'm going to show you how to grab a strategy or a citation with this strategy using Google My Maps. And it's just to get to this page, you go to google.com/My Maps. So we're going to hit create a new map. And what we're going to do is we're going to search for our listing in here. So here's mine right there. Great. And what we're going to do is we're going to come up here where it says untitled map. We're going to click it. And for the map title, we're going to enter in the keyword that we'd like to rank for. In the description, we're going to do the citation now. So we're going to do name, address, phone number. So Waukesha Home Heating. For phone numbers, I usually like to do the hyphens. It's a little more search engine friendly. All right, and then I also like to throw in a link too. Just like that, and we'll save that. Okay, so that's it. Now, the only thing that you need to make sure that you do is hit this little share button here. And right now it's set as private. You need to change that so that it says public on the web, and save that. And that's it. This is your link. If you were to go and pop that in, you can see it. Our citation is there with our keyword, and also with our backlink in there as well to our website. So don't abuse this, but use it to grab yourself a citation. It's just a great way to grab another citation. So yeah, just a cool little trick to try out.